You talked about wanting to play better. Was this an example of that? And what was behind you guys playing at a higher level tonight?
Yes, this is what I was talking about. But like I said, our fans was unbelievable tonight. And just be able to come home, play our first playoff game into a dome. It was very exciting. And our fans came out. They showed up and showed out. And like I said, guys played better, played well. Norm was huge for us tonight. Scoring the basketball, but also making the right play in the pick and roll versus the blitzes. And, we got to build off of it. Like I said, it's only 2 games. But today, I liked our approach. I like what we did defensively. And, it's still going to be a tough series. It ain't over because we, had a blowout. It's only 1 game, so we got to be ready to come and validate that on Saturday.
Ty, what is it about Nico that you can just throw him into a playoff series no matter what and he'll deliver every time?
Because he's been in big games. He understands his role. And he's a star in his role. Whatever we ask Nico to do, he does it every single night. Whether it's 1 shot, whether it's 10 shots, whether it's no shots. He's going to be the same person, same player every night. And that's what we love about him. Unbelievable connector. And everybody loves playing with him.
I felt like James had a really good control over the game today at 13 in that first quarter, only 1 turnover, 9 assists. Spent most of that second half, I think, kind of just finding guys. What did you make of how he kind of approached and handled the flow of the game today, seeing when he needs to score or get guys involved?
Yeah, I thought he did a great job. A masterpiece of just, taking what the defense gives you. If they're going to be in a drop, we want to attack downhill. If they're going to be in a blitz, making the right read. And just the biggest thing for us, just watching film tomorrow, just, guys, getting to their spots, and it's different spots than we've been in all year. And so it's taking some time to kind of really find the flow and the rhythm. But game 4, we should be a lot better, understanding what we're looking for and how we want to set up. And so I thought James did a really good job of just being patient and taking what the defense gave him.
See, just the atmosphere in here. You had so many guys who used to play for this team come through tonight, just other guys who play in the league. How do you feel seeing that, in the first playoff game in this building?
No, it feels good, seeing CP, seeing Pat Bev, and, Pat Bev with the Zubac jersey on, and so, it just feels good. Like I said, the series is far from over. We understand that. But tonight, it was a good showing for us. So we got to come out, like I said, and validate this on Saturday.
Coach, early in the game, Denver hit you guys with a couple baseline cuts for layups and dunks. But it seemed like in that first quarter, after that, you guys really tightened up defensively. Didn't give up 30 points in any of the quarters. What did you guys see that allowed you guys to kind of tighten it up and not give away those baseline cuts from that you saw in that first quarter?
Yeah, we just looking at it, we thought that Jokers knew how we've been playing, in the first 2 games, and like I said, the best player in the world, he was baiting us, early on in that first quarter where we were coming, and he saw us coming, but he acted like he didn't, and he was really picking us apart. And so in that second quarter on through, we did a good job of just really selling out all those corner cuts, kind of trying to stay at home, especially if Zoo's guarding them, and just kind of mix it up. But like I said, JVG did a good job of just, adjusting to what we need to adjust to, once they got those corner cuts, and was able to take care of it after that.
Ty, kind of after game 1, I'm back here. After game 1, you said that you kind of feel like the week off going into game 1 kind of could have impacted you guys in terms of fatigue and guys looking a little bit rusty. How do you feel that the guys have kind of rebounded from that to get into the flow of this series?
Yeah, I think they've done a good job of rebounding. And like you said, 11 turnovers tonight. I think, with our core guys, I think we might have had 8 or 9. So, we understand we take care of the basketball. We can get really good shots, and just don't get bored with the process, understand what they're doing. And, for every situation they have, we have a different alignment to get to, but we got to do it with pace and get to our spots. So just don't get bored with it. Just take what the defense is giving you. If it's not your night tonight to get shots, make other guys better. And I thought Kawhi and James did a really good job of that tonight.
Coach, so also in the second half, Kawhi had a nasty in and out crossover, got an and one play. Kind of talk about what he is like after practice and before practice, how hard he works, because nobody really knows inside story. But what kind of can you tell us about Kawhi's work ethic?
You see where he's at today. I think all the injuries, everything he's been through to get to this point, like I said, to work hard to get back for the playoffs and to be at full strength. And so that right there just tells you everything about Kawhi. He could have easily packed it in this year, but he wanted to play. He wanted to be out there and help his teammates. And like I said, he's back to being the player, a healthy player, which he's a very great player when he's healthy. And also just give a lot of credit to Ben Simmons. I thought he came in and changed the game in that first quarter just with his pace. I thought he did a good job of showing Joker different coverages, and his pace and everything was really good for us. And so everybody, like I said, chipped in, and it was a team effort, Norm back on track. And so I'm feeling really good about, where we at. We still have 2 more games and just kind of go from there.
Ty, on a night like tonight where there's so many positives to take away from the game, is there one specific thing that stood out to you offensively or defensively?
Just taking care of the basketball. We talked about it, and even tonight we talked about taking care of the basketball and rebounding the basketball. And so to out-rebound them by 10 after they out-rebounded us by, I think, 18 last game, that's a huge turnaround for us. And so just lock into the small things and to the details. And when we do that, we'll be fine.
Coach, how much credit goes to Jeff Van Gundy for the team's defense?
All the credit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was moving, screaming, and very active in the bench.
All the credit.
Thank you.
Yep.